Oops. All right. Welcome to the Ugly Truth. This is episode 612. Is that your churchy one?
No, it was my Gone with the Wind.
Oh. It is Easter Sunday after all when this is
true.
You are listening to this on a Easter Sunday, so you know we're probably not really here on Easter Sunday. But we did record this for you on Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, all who observe. Okay, so Daryl and I are officially empty nesters.
Yes. I know.
It's weird.
Is it?
It's weirder than I thought. And here's what the thing. I thought
your kids were hardly never here anyway.
I know, but mentally I knew they were here. You know, like my daughter, the last one that moved out, I knew she was hardly here. But now her bed is gone.
Oh.
Her vanity, all of her makeup, her bathroom's cleaned out.
Stuff she needed is gone.
She is gone.
Yeah.
And there's obviously there's a lot of perks to being an empty nester. But it was kind of the same thing. Like when Daryl and I got married, I'm like, well, it's not going to change anything. Like we're together. We live together. It's not going to feel any different. We got married. And the first night we were alone together on our way to our honeymoon or whatever, the sex felt different. Everything. The whole thing felt different. And I don't know what it's a mental thing, obviously. It's not. So now that we're officially empty nesting, everything feels way different than I thought it would.
It feels really real.
It's real. And we're also very young to be empty nesters. True. In this day and age. A lot of people still have kids in high school or they're just getting out of high school.
Hello, me.
And honestly, if you have high school, college age, you know that they aren't officially moved out yet because it's too expensive to just 18, hit the open road and start your life. No one does that anymore.
Right.
You can't. It's just incredibly difficult.
Hit the open road.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And so she's out. And one of the reasons why all of our kids moved out and in their early 20s is because we always had the rule that you couldn't have overnight guests. If you're fucking them, they're not allowed to spend the night.
Oh.
That's basically the rule.
Good rule.
And it's been this rule since the dawn of time. And it's just the one thing. I'm like, look, I am a cool mom, but I'm not so cool that I'm going to let you just do whatever you want in my house.
I do know parents that are like that.
Yeah, and the problem...
I'm not one of them.
I think the problem is if you let your adult kids have overnight guests, they'll never freaking move. And
that's a good point.
There's nothing they can't do at home that why pay rent to do it?
Not entirely true, but okay.
You know what I mean.
To a point,
To a point.
Because there's something very voyeuristic and freeing about having crazy sex completely alone.
Of course. So it has motivated all of my kids to move out in their early 20s. Like by 21, 22, they're like, I got to get out of here. And I'm like, good, get out, you know?
Yeah.
But it's great because it emboldens them. It forces them to be independent, make their money and whatever. And for that, I'm always so grateful. However, when they leave, I'm like, hello? And I'm like, oh, God, it's just you,
Is there anybody who needs to be served?
Yeah. Does anyone need food?
Or
Do
money?
You need anything? Do you need money? I can't remember the last time I Venmo'd anybody.
Wow.
Anything. I know. It's crazy. So anyway, I told Daryl, I'm like, oh, I guess we're officially empty nesting. He goes, yeah. And so now we shouldn't say we can't. We haven't been turning down social commitments. Like
I've noticed
people are like, hey, we're going to go to do this thing. Do you want to come?
Like,
and I'm
why
like,
not?
Yeah. So we went to Napa a couple of months ago and we had a great time with this group of people. It was Daryl's brother and his wife and then this other couple. And they're kind of empty nesters. Their kids are in college. And so they're alone a lot. And so the six of us are like, we have this really great vibe. So we're like, hey, let's do some wine tasting again. Let's do it again. And so the other mom or the other girl, she decides to she's like, okay, we're going to go to this amazing winery in Elk Grove. I know.
We talked about it when you were actually going.
Yes.
And I was like, really, Jamie? Elk
yes.
Grove?
But the wine was really, really good.
Shit, really?
So we all show up and it's one of those things. And then we're going to dinner afterwards. You've heard of the Sheldon Inn. You've been.
Yes. It's a local establishment.
It's so good.
It is good. Well, I haven't been there in 20 years.
Well, they've changed. That whole area is completely different. The Sheldon Inn is an old restaurant. It's an old steakhouse restaurant, but the winery is new. Okay. It's like 5 years old, I think. Okay. Maybe a little, not much.
Anyone who doesn't do some kind of version of wine or wine tasting within as close as we live to Napa.
Yeah, exactly.
It's stupid, really.
It is. And you pass vineyard. I mean, we're in the valley. Things so grow and it's good. And so anyway, you know, I was kind of half joking about it. I'm like, I wonder what kind of wine this is going to be. Right. You know, it is Elk Grove. But she's like, oh, no, I really like it here. And we're like, okay. So we go, we have our own table, we sit down, and she's so sweet. She's like, okay, I got everybody a gift. She gave us little gifts. She goes, the white ones are for the women and the blue ones are for the men. And she was like, went all out. She gave us little snacks. Aww. And so we did a full wine tasting, and it was so fun.
Oh, that's so good.
And so I'm like, oh my God, is this what it's like?
And if you know Jamie and I, we don't, social events are generally filled with anxiety and secret disgust and disdain.
Oh no, I completely. We show up and we pull in, and of course
the fact that you had actual fun.
So we pull into this gravel parking lot, and Daryl's backing in, and he has this giant truck, right? And he backs in. It's like beep beep, and he hits a bush. And they are out. Wow. They're in front of us across the way, and I'm like,
everybody sees you hit the bush.
I'm like, they're gonna see you do. I'm like, why are you parking so? He's like, it's just a bush, and I'm like, I'm embarrassed. It took me forever to decide what to wear, you know, because these women are stunning, of course, and I feel like a little slug, you know. So I come out, and I'm wearing jeans with my boots and a sweater because I was freezing. Of course,
it's been freezing.
It was last week when we did it. And so, of course, you know, my sister-in-law looks amazing.
She always does. She's like 105 pounds breadth.
It's not even that. It's her clothes, her everything. She's always put together. She looks great. And I was like, God damn it. I mean, there's nothing you can't compete with
because other women actually invest in themselves where we do not.
We don't. And you know what?
We should.
I am learning that lesson. Yeah. I am learning that lesson.
And you know what? It feels really good when you do go somewhere and you have something that you feel not ugly in.
Thank you. Yeah. And so, and this is going to correlate with everything we're talking about today. So anyway, so I'm like, God damn it, I feel stupid. And I come out and I'm like, you guys are dressed up. I feel like, what are you doing? And they're like, what? No, we're fine. You look great. And I'm like, shut up. I'm wearing jeans. None of you are wearing jeans.
It's like the hand that rocks the cradle. Oh, I thought you were going to wear the red dress. What? Do I look ugly? No.
Anyway, it was my own insecurities. I was fine.
I get it.
I'm like, I'm walking in gravel for Christ's sake. It's fine what I'm wearing.
Thank you.
So we go, we have the wine, everything's great. And then it was so like this natural separation where all the women were sitting on one side talking and all the men were on the other side talking. And then this one, his name's Mike, and his wife was there and he was kind of in the middle and he wasn't drinking because he was driving everybody. And he goes, they're like, oh, do you want some wine or anything? He goes, no. He goes, I'm driving. He goes, do you want a Coors Light? He's like, yes, thank you. I'll have a Coors Light.
Thank you.
I go, you might as well hydrate while we're here. By all means. He's like, yeah. He's a giant human. He's fine.
A beer is not going to hurt you.
No, he was fine. But anyway, we're talking and, you know, I tend to be awkward, and I don't really care about what my surroundings are. I'll start talking about just about anything, right?
Oh God.
So they're like low key talking, like, oh my God, have you ever been on a toilet? The Japanese toilets, they're built-in bidets. I'm like, oh my God, like they're the greatest. That's what they have in Europe is Totos. Yeah. The seats are warmed.
They don't have closing doors, but they do have toilets.
No, they have barn doors, but other than that, they're built-in bidets. The bidet that you can adjust the hardness of the bidet.
That is essential.
The water's warm. I mean, it's a delight. And I said, and you know what's weird is that the really nice hotels in New York said, we're definitely doing this. So they renovated all of their rooms to have Totos in it, and everybody hated them.
Really?
To the point that they had to take them out and put in old school toilets because nobody wanted them.
Americans are ridiculous.
Thank you. And I said, that is dumb. I'm like, do you know people laugh at Americans who use toilet paper? They're like, do you know how dirty your ass is? And so
that's why we shower every single day or twice a day.
Right. Because we have
itchy butts.
Well, yes.
I mean, I don't
either, but I understand what you're saying. But Stephanie, if I even get a hint of anything, I'm like, shower.
I mean, immediately. Well, I shower every day, but some of my friends think that's weird.
Oh no, I shower daily. I can't. I may not wash my hair every day, but I'm bathing daily. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm like, oh man, they're so great. And I was telling them this little fun fact about, you know, New York City hotels. And they're like, oh, that's so weird. I'm like, I know. So one of the girls goes, I never felt so clean in my life. My undercarriage was as the cleanest it's ever been. I loved it. And I'm like, you feel so clean.
I would have no problem having oral sex performed on me tonight.
Yes. You are
without a pre-shower ritual.
You are so clean. You feel you feel lighter almost.
Your underwear probably smell good all day.
All the times.
I mean, people think that's weird. I'm like, I literally change my underwear like twice a day. And
Yeah.
they're like, why? Well, it doesn't help that I have a husband that's like, I know you guys can't help it, but women are like science experiments down there.
That is disgusting, and he should shut the fuck up
It is
about
disgusting.
it. Oh my God.
But he's not wrong. Okay.
Well, if you're filthy, sure.
No, we're not filthy. I am not filthy.
Stephanie,
I am pristine.
We are profane of cleanse.
Indeed.
Please. So anyway, we're talking, and Mike, who was listening to both of us, both conversations, he's like, yeah, man, I don't know if that would be good, you know, for me or whatever. And I'm like, well, I suppose if you could braid the hair, it might be difficult. But for the rest of us, it's good. And he got real silent and he stared at me.
Like, are you being serious? Like, yeah, I am.
And then one of the girls goes, are we being too loud, Mike? He goes, no. Hilarious.
Well, he's sober, right?
Completely. But so was I at this point.
Okay.
I refuse to get hammered at these things.
It's just a bad idea.
I'll fall down.
It's such a dumb thing to do.
And fall.
Yeah.
No. So I'm
I've
like,
done
no.
it. We talked about that.
Many
it's similar to
times.
office parties. You just don't do it.
Yeah. And so he's like, no, you're being funny, but no, not too loud. And I was like, well, you know, and then he goes, you want to hear something interesting? I go, sure. He goes, I don't smell. And I'm like, I believe you.
He doesn't smell?
Yeah, like the undercarriage part. And I go, I believe you. He goes, you want to know why? And I'm like, absolutely. He goes, well, I use Neosporin when I ride my motorcycle. Huh? Neosporin is an antibacterial.
Well, yes, I know that.
He goes, the skin gets bacteria. The bacteria is what causes odor.
That's true.
He goes, and I don't chafe. And he's like all in.
Wow.
All in. I was like, I'm fascinated by this.
Buy the man some Lumi.
And I said, is this something that everyone knows? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I just came upon it myself. And I'm like, that's brilliant,
It's actually quite brilliant.
Brilliant. So I'm just sharing that little fun fact with everybody who rides motorcycles or whatever. Because, I mean, if that's the case.
Horses, anything. Where you have to straddle.
Giddy up. Yes, exactly. So I thought that was really interesting. But anyway, it ended up being a great night.
Well, I love Lumi for that reason.
Same.
The only thing I will say about Lumi is I wish they would, and I know we love the product for what it does.
Sure.
What it's designed to do, which is odor, which is the number one reason why we use it.
Yes.
But I will say that when I'm having a stressful day at work and I'm using it as deodorant, I don't have a iota of smell to me. But the antiperspirant part doesn't work 100%.
I don't think it is an antiperspirant. I think it's just anti-odor.
And I just don't like that feeling.
You don't like the wetness
at all. And it's not like wet where I'm having, no, I'm not one of those girls where you're going to see a spot in my armpit. Yeah. No, fuck no. No, but I could be a squeezed out, half dried washcloth under there.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I don't think it's an antiperspirant. I think it's just odor.
But which is fantastic because that's the worst of the two, right?
There is nothing worse than forgetting to put on deodorant.
I've never done it, but I mean, I've waited too long to take a shower at home.
Oh, that'll happen too.
You'll be like, it's 3:00 and that smell is me. Okay, I'm getting in the shower right. You're like,
my
now.
Lumi is no longer working.
Yeah,
and that definitely happens. Yeah. Oh, that happens to me too. Anyway,
so lazy days or depressed days. Whatever.
We went to the restaurant and we all sat and had an amazing time. And then we were leaving. And we went obviously separately. So we're like, okay, well, we'll meet you there because we were going to his brother's house afterwards for a little afternoon, whatever.
So you did go.
We did go, but we didn't spend the night.
Right. No,
because we had a brunch in the morning, which I'll tell you about in a moment.
Oh,
so So everybody but the driver of their car was drunk, which is why they didn't drive.
That's good.
And Daryl is fine. And so we're driving. And so we get there first and we left last because I had to go to the bathroom, of course. I'm like, I have to pee. Sorry.
Hurry.
So I peed and then we're walking and then Daryl came and picked me up so I didn't have to walk on the gravel. And so by the time all that happened, they were long gone.
Yeah.
So Daryl and I took off and we went and we showed up. I'm like, where is everybody? No one's here. We get out. We're like, hello? And we're like, no one's here. So we're just standing there and we're waiting. And then we see them show up. And they're like, how did you guys beat us? I'm like, I don't know. They're like, we all were talking shit about you guys. I'm like, what were you saying? And they're like, we thought for sure you were having sex in the parking lot. And I'm like, what? I'm like, why in the hell would they think such a thing? What makes you think that I
am the kind sit next to each other?
Fuck no. In fact, not at all. In fact, when we were leaving, I told Daryl, I said, I don't think you and I spoke at all tonight. Like at all.
Why? Okay. And I was like, no. Do they know you've been married for a quarter of a century?
This is why I think. Because, and I think I've mentioned this on the show in the past, we've had a lot of people ask us, how come you guys are so happy? Like, you can't keep your hands off each other. You hold hands, you kiss all the time.
Okay.
You're very affectionate, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, first of all, I can't keep Daryl off of me ever.
That's been forever since.
And it's never changed. Yeah. It's not lessened. It's the same. I mean, we don't have sex daily like we're 18.
No, but you've literally said that since the day you married
Yes, I'm like,
Daryl.
I can't get him off me. And so he goes, I said, well, the key to our happiness anyway is we have a lot of sex. Yeah. And it's not like, okay, you know what? It's time. Something like that.
It's just natural. It's organic.
It is organic. And I'm like, it's just one of those things that keeps it hot, and you have to communicate, you have to, whatever. And so
me and my friend were talking about this the other day because he's been married for 40 years.
Ooh.
And so we talked about it, and I'm like, do you think that, I'm like, this sounds so superficial to say that like having tons of sex is what kept you married. He goes, well, what I have found is that sex does kind of erase all of those things that would otherwise just piss you the fuck off.
Absolutely. And I can attest that is true.
And I'm like, true.
For example, like I said a few weeks ago, I was really sick for like 7 or 8 days. So we did not have sex for 7 or 8 days. Now, the day that I was getting sick, I relented because I was like, you know what? If I'm really getting sick, then I'm not going
to want to,
And so it had been like 7 days. That is unheard of in this house.
Right.
And so we did.
It's markedly noticeable.
The level of tension that this man had, I told him, I said, you have to stop being mean to people. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you're being grumpy. And so he's like, I don't understand. We had sex that night. Next day, he was a pleasure to be around. He was fine.
Good.
But so your friend is right.
Yes.
That it does erase a lot of sins that normally, that relief, that calmness, that, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not just the act, it's all the things that come with it. And so I have said this to people, and both of us have said this to people. So I think they get this impression that we just never can't.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, they probably, and I'm like, no.
No, hardly.
Like, please, first of
We're
all.
not in high school.
Not only, I mean, do I look like a person that would do that in a car? I mean, maybe when I was in school, but not now. Like, come on.
I haven't had sex in a vehicle since I was like 20.
I can't even remember the last. Yeah, same. I don't think Daryl and I have ever had sex in a car. He may correct me, but I can't think of a time.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't my husband that I was having sex with in a car. No. That's for sure. No, I think we did it once in the car, and I think we had been dating for like 2 weeks.
You know what? I think we may have done it once in the car, but it wasn't my idea. There's no way in hell that I decided that was a good idea.
I'm pretty sure it was my idea because I remember, nowadays when my poor husband, he's like, do you remember when you used to like me? He says that to me far too often.
You're like, don't you?
And I'm like,
do you feel bad?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, you know what I remember? I've done this in 2 relationships. In my first marriage, and I did it with Jerry. I said, remember how great this is right now, because when you're with when we're here with an UGG and it's new and the UGG is reciprocal to love, not just passion, not
affection,
just sex, actually the whole package. You're in, right? They're getting all of you for the most part.
That's true.
Except for children at that point.
Of course.
It's a fantastic thing. It's like this crazy...
It's like a drug.
It's like a drug. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. And he was just so obsessed with me. And I'm like, I want you to remember how amazing this... Because I've been here before.
Yes.
I've been here before. And I want you to remember how fantastic this feels. Because he was telling me all the things like, I'll never feel this way again. I'll never love anybody this way again. Mm-hmm, yeah, you say that now. I'm like, don't fuck it up. And there's only a really few things that you can do to fuck it up. True. Bad that are irreversible,
where you're out of the fold,
out of it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, cheating on me, or physically harming me in any way,
and then it's over.
I'm like,
then you'll never get me again.
Never get back to where we were before.
You're right,
right?
You're right.
I said, and there is nothing worse than a scorned UGG. We are not even like regular scorned women.
You're right.
I'm like, it's a whole nother level. I'm like, because all of this passion and this stuff that you're feeling now on the good spectrum,
it's turned on you.
It goes the other way.
Isn't that weird how that happens?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're right.
So when you say things to me like, remember when you used to like me? I'm like, remember what I told you? Remember what I said?
Remember what I said? I wasn't lying. And I always tell that to people. I have said that to my kids. I've said that to others. And I'm like, First of all,
and believe me when I say it.
Believe it.
Yeah.
Number one. And number two, if someone walks away, they're not allowed back. They don't come back, and they always come back. Because they go, oh God.
The grass is never greener.
They're like, oh my God, you were the one. You were the best, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And now you know. Now move on with your life.
Well, you can also be the worst in the situation, you know.
Whatever. But it's like, you want in the fold, never again.
Right.
Once you're gone, when I'm done, you're done. I'm done.
Right.
I know
I'm not proud of that. I don't say that like, ha ha, like I am such a cunt.
I can't help it.
It is just who I am. It is just me. And the sad part is that there is no do-overs, unfortunately, and that some people are like, well, you know, I know people whose relationships come back stronger or better, and I'm like, maybe they do.
I believe you.
Maybe they're another, you know, there are other human beings who are capable of. I'm just not one of them.
Nah,
and it's unfortunate because the only way for me to get back to that bliss is to do it with someone else,
right?
Not do it like have sex with someone else.
No, I know what you mean.
To start over and have that with someone else.
You can't. It's hard to you can't reboot. It's hard to reboot.
It's very, very difficult. I can sustain or maintain or you know what I mean, or get by for other reasons that are logical.
Agreed.
But as far as like that independent personal relationship that I've had with you or the things that I've shared with you, it ain't happening. And we've talked about now that we're at that point in our life where I just don't know that I have the energy to do it again.
Stephanie, I have to tell you,
I'm so exhausted.
If I found myself single today, in a million years, I would never.
Right.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's where I am too.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't have lovers and stuff, but I would never marry another man.
We've totally talked about that.
Never.
Yeah, I know for sure I would have lovers because I love sex. But
me too. But I would never. I'd be like getting adjusted to another man's habits at this day. No. I'm not training another one.
I am not training another one, and I am not seeing another pair of skivvy
I don't want to
see in my life ever.
I'm like, it's time for you to go home.
And don't leave your bottom of your yellow socks in my room. Take them with you. Oh my God. I was leaving so on my way to your house to do the show today.
Yeah.
I spent a good hour and a half yesterday cleaning my Jeep. I love to wash and polish and clean my Jeep.
I love doing
literally
that.
So relaxing.
It's like meditation.
And you can't hear anything and the vacuum's going and I'm so focused. And I did that yesterday for about an hour and a half. Felt great. And on my way to your house today, I have a thing that I need to return to a store about a gift for a friend, and I decided I don't like it, so I'm going to take it back. But I didn't want it in my purse anymore because it was getting on my nerves.
Sure.
So I opened my glove compartment, which my Jeep is newish to me. I've owned it for less than a year. Yeah. So nothing has ever been used really that much. I can't tell you the last time I opened my glove compartment. I'm pretty sure it was to put the registration in when I bought it.
Right.
So it's been like 7 months.
What was in there?
A mask. Not mine. A hospital mask. And I immediately knew whose mask it was. And I'm like, that's Jerry's mask. I was like, I don't want your smelly breath mask in my Jeep. God, I was so angry.
You're like, this?
And it's probably been in there for months.
Well, at least.
And I'm like, who? It's like throwing away a used Kleenex and just dumping it to me. Yes. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm like, I'm so glad he wasn't with me to watch my visceral response when I saw it, because I was legit furious.
Oh, God.
I was like, ugh. I used my fingers like tweezers. I'm like, God, get away from me.
Oh my God.
I'm like, are you okay, glove compartment? I'll sanitize you when we get home.
Oh, you're shaking. I'm so sorry. You poor thing.
How long has that been in there? We're not going to breathe until I get it right.
I'm just so sorry.
I have Clorox wipes somewhere. Hold on.
Oh my God. So anyway, so that was Saturday night. And then they're like, stay. We're like, no, we can't. We have to go. We have brunch in the morning because our mutual hairdresser friend, they invited us to brunch to celebrate his birthday.
So
I'm like,
lovely.
Thank you. Because
so sweet.
They have so many friends and family.
I know.
And all that stuff. So we were really excited. We're like, oh my God, I
felt honored.
Are we chosen? We were so excited. No, I was so excited. Anyway, so Greg and Glenn are so put together all the time. Like, they look good.
That's exhausting.
All the time. And they don't have to try that hard.
I know.
You know, they're attractive.
Greg is so attractive.
They're both attractive. Glenn is a very attractive
I've seen Glenn in photos. I don't know that I've met him in person, but he's super gorgeous.
His eyes are about as blue as you could possibly get. I mean, he's like, if he was a husky, people would be like, that is one of the most good looking huskies I've ever seen. No, very attractive. They're both incredible.
Yeah, they are both very much so.
Anyway, So I always feel, Daryl and I both feel pressure, first of all, to make sure our hair is perfect because he's our hairdresser, number one. And number two, it's just that they're always put together. Right. You don't want to look like slobs.
Even in their casualist moment, they're adorable.
They always look great. And so I had mentally prepared the outfit I was going to wear. I knew what I was wearing. I have these over the thigh or over the knee black suede boots. And then I had this really cute plaid skirt that I bought for London. And then I wore it with a black turtleneck because it was absolutely frigid.
It's freezing.
And then I wore my faux leather jacket. I'm like, okay.
Perfect.
Got my shit together. Now I woke up a little late, so I couldn't redo my hair. So I had to like work with the day before, which was fine because we had gone out and my hair had a lot of volume. I wore it kind of straight. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you all of this, so we were running late because we didn't have any time to buy a birthday gift of any kind. And I just like, you don't go empty-handed.
Worst case scenario, you bring wine, but...
Except we were meeting them at a restaurant, and I didn't. Yeah. And I did think about it, but they have so much wine because he gets wine for gifts constantly.
Yeah, it is a go-to for most people.
They had lost their dog that they had had for many years, passed away a few years ago, and so they decided.
Did you bring him a puppy?
It was time for them to have a new family member, so they got a puppy for his birthday.
Aww.
So we decided to buy puppy gifts.
Perfect.
Right. So we did that. So we stopped.
Never have too many puppy gifts.
Right. So we bought everything. And so
you could buy ridiculous things that you probably wouldn't buy. Yeah.
So we were running a little late and I'm thinking we're doing brunch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they're going to have a table. They're like, hurry up, whatever.
We've done this before at
we
this place.
We went to Tres Hermanos, which is a Mexican restaurant. One of the best actually in Sacramento.
Very trendy. Lots of people there.
Yeah. So we show up.
The place to be.
They're at the bar. They're like, look, we've already had a shot. Where are you? And I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm like, I thought we were having brunch. I didn't know we were doing shots. It's 11:30.
Yes.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning. What are we doing? So we show up and they're like, oh my God, you look so good. They're like, your outfit is everything. And I'm like, well, I mean.
This old thing, I just threw it on.
No, I did not. Okay. I was like, well, thank you. I'm compelled to be put together because I can be sloppy.
Right.
And I can't this time. No. You know, it's very important. Everything has to be perfect. And they're like, well, we appreciate it, whatever. So then we start drinking. The bartender is just killing it. They're buying pitcher after pitcher. And I'm like,
for God's sake.
I have to eat something. Like I have to eat something. I haven't eaten anything. I have to.
Morning drinks, there's something about them. They hit you like
hard.
It's like having an IV.
And so they're like, we're doing shots. I'm like, please don't make me do a shot.
Well, they could walk home, by the way.
Yeah. And I'm like, come on, you guys. I'm like,
you guys could be passed out in your bed in an hour. I have to drive home.
The fucking bartender bought shots. There was like 7 lined up. And I'm like, what are we doing? I thought we were having, where's the eggs? Where's the holiday sauce?
I need bread.
Where's the mimosas? Here, have a chip.
My water with lime. I need.
They're like, here, have some chips. I'm like, okay. I'm like, wait.
That is nothing.
I'm like, this is not brunch.
No.
So I'm like, okay. Once I adjusted my brain that this is not brunch.
This is their idea of brunch.
And I'm like, but they're like, no, we do need to eat. You're right. So we got the menus and I ordered chorizo. It was so good.
I haven't had it in so long.
It was so, and I'm so like not good. I'm like so leery of anybody else's chorizo.
Agreed.
So I was like,
yeah, but it's pretty safe there.
If anyone's going to make it the way I like it, it's going to be here. And it was so freaking good. Yummy. I ate all of it. I was like, oh my God. I was like,
if you guys have never had chorizo, have it. It's delicious.
So freaking good. It was great. Everybody was wishing Greg happy birthday. Aww. And he's speaking Spanish to all the people that work there.
God, can he be any sexier? He's so adorable.
I know. And then Glenn's over on the side and somebody came in and he was telling everybody how they got a dog and they're so excited. And this woman that they had met at another bar or something. And they're like, oh, and Greg, he's so perfectly judgy.
I love it.
He's so fucking funny. So he turns to me, he goes, this woman that we met at a bar said, oh, I'll dog sit for you whenever you want. He goes, what the fuck? Never in a million. And Glenn's like, she'll dog sit for us. And he's like, what? Never. Why? Who? She's a stranger. Why do you leave my... I'm like, he's a baby. He's like, no. He's like, God. And so I had taken my shot and put it in my margarita. I didn't,
good.
I couldn't do it.
That was smart.
And so Greg's like, what's going on with this drink over here? And I'm like, well, it's just watered down.
I'm nursing it.
It's watered down and it's gross now.
You could have lied and been like, you know what, I'm hungover. We went out last night.
No, because you know what? I did have a margarita and I felt a ton better, obviously. And so he's like,
Jerry's
what's up?
Cure. He's like, there's no way you're getting out of this hangover unless you have a drink. And I'm I can't. He's like, just do it.
Or have a
Coke. Do it. I'm like, I feel great.
Yeah. Suddenly you're like, oh, but you know what? You can run from it.
You can't hide.
It's going to come and get you.
It does.
So, and it did. And so,
it's best to write it out and drink water, but okay.
Right. And so he go, oh no, you don't want to drink it. It's all watered down. He goes, no, I want to drink it. So he took a sip and he's like, this isn't water. I'm like, no. He goes, you put your shot in this? I'm like, I'm sorry. I've been trying to sip it though. He's like, it's disgusting. He's like, don't eat it. Don't drink it. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm sorry. So finally we leave. And it's funny because like there was somebody sitting behind me and he's like, what's going on with that woman behind you? And I mean, this is why I love him. Because once he's been drinking.
He's so perfect.
He's like, what's with the woman behind you? I'm like, I don't know why. He goes, she's eating really slow. I was like, I don't know. He goes, I think she's high. And I'm like, oh, maybe. And I go, do you want me to turn around and look? He's like, well, no, I can see. I think she's high. And I'm like, oh. He goes, why is she still here? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, ask her to leave.
And I'm like, I'm not getting in a fight with anyone, all right? I'm not fighting with anyone.
Because I'm the only real girl here. And
well, there was a woman on the other side of the bar, and Glenn was talking to her because she was wearing this really cute, like, faux fur-lined jacket, like wool. It was really pretty. She looked really cute. And he's like, oh, my God, you look so good, blah, blah, blah. And the husband, the boyfriend, gave him a dirty look. And so Greg's ready to just rip his face off.
Oh, God.
He's like, that asshole. He goes, they're assholes. And I'm like, why? What happened? He goes, we were complimenting her. And then he gave us this death glare. Like, he's so insecure.
So insecure.
We're not allowed to, like, compliment.
Cannot stand guys like that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's
and I was
so annoying.
I'm like, well, that's not cool. I go, and she's not that cute.
You were just being nice. You liked your outfit.
And she had a cute coat on, you know.
Buzzkill.
And she did have good hair. So anyway, finally I said, I think we should leave. Because we're like, we're done. You know, it's time to go.
We've overstayed our welcome. Everyone's ugly and we hate them.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. And it's just getting louder.
And they're just eating and bugging us.
And at some point I go,
it's a restaurant.
I go, hey, Greg. I go, didn't you order mole with your meal? He goes, I did order mole. He goes, did they think it was a person? I said, I don't know. I said, why don't you have them? I go, why don't you have them summon Mole from the back to find out where he's at? And he's like, he's really loud. He's like, Jared, summon Mole. I ordered him. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Don't get him started. Oh my God.
It was hilarious.
Oh,
it was
God,
hilarious.
He's worse than us.
Oh God. Stephanie, you have no idea how much we're like. I mean, it's so funny. I'm always so shocked at the fact how similar our brains
Thank
were.
God.
Or just a sense of humor. And you know what it is?
It's a humor thing, yeah.
It's because he has a lot of siblings. That's gotta be it. He has he had a brother, but he has 2 or 3 sisters. And I mean, this is why. That's that sibling thing. You know what I mean?
It's a sibling thing, but at the same time, I don't know anybody who meet the level of judginess that's with such
my God,
preciseness. Like, we're not judgy for no reason.
Oh God.
If we're judging you about something, we are spot on.
We've seen it.
We are dead on.
Nothing escapes.
Now, is it mean? Yes, but that's okay because normally we're the only ones that will hear it.
Yes, and
but to have someone else,
God, it's such a relief. Yeah, it's such a relief
because I'm constantly censoring myself, even around my good friends.
Don't have to censor yourself around Greg and Glenn. So we walk,
and I don't have to do it around my bestie.
No, so we walk,
but every once in a while, even I shock her. She's like, Stephanie, my God.
We go to the house. We go to their house, and they're like, "Hey, let's have more margaritas." Like, absolutely. So they ordered a pitcher to go. So that's what we had.
Good Lord.
So we went, we had the pitcher at home.
Pickled and I wasn't even
It was so good though. It was delicious. God, they make the best margaritas. So we're drinking margaritas, and whenever we do go to their house, we end up going and we just start listening to music. And we start talking about why we love it or whatever. Glenn has a very different type of music that he likes. And so does Greg. Daryl, obviously, we all have very different tastes. I like a lot of the stuff. I like a lot of music. I can really vibe with anything.
Pretty much.
Daryl's very specific about what he likes.
Yeah.
So we always go through the rounds of the usual. We start listening to George Michael. We listen to Queen, and then we're listening to whatever. And then at some point, Al Jarreau came up. And I'm like, and Daryl wouldn't stop saying Al Jarreau. He kept saying it. And Greg's like, oh, do you mean Al Jarreau? Jarreau. You mean Al Jarreau? And it was over and over. And I'm just like laughing. And I'm like, first of all, poor Daryl. And he's sitting there in the chair. And I'm like, and the three of us are looking at him, you know? And I'm like, first of all, I hate Al Jarreau. Daryl's like, okay. I can't say it without
what else? Go ahead. I'm like, say it all to me now, you assholes.
I'm like, why did you play Lou Rawls?
Wait, what?
Lou Rawls. I just couldn't.
Lou Rawls?
Yes. Okay. He was appeasing Glenn because Glenn and Daryl have a lot of the same similar.
Kind of, they like rhythm and blues.
Yeah, and they like. And Glenn was like, I have seen Manhattan Transfer.
Wait, stop it. Okay, she can't speak, so I'll fill in.
Greg's like, you liar.
He's like, you liar.
He said, you're lying. He's like, I have. He's like, you are lying. You have not seen Manhattan. He's like, I have with my first boyfriend. He goes, who? He goes, David Diggs or whatever his name was. He goes, he had the same name, DD. He's like,
Dirk Diggler.
Anyway, Greg and he's like, do you like Lou Rawls? I'm like, not really. I mean, he's kind of old school, you know? And I go, and there's something, he goes,
isn't he the lead singer of Foreigner?
No, Lou Rawls is the old, you'll never find.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Greg turns to me, he goes, he always looked dirty to me. I go, dirty? He goes, yeah, he always looked dirty. I go,
like he needed to bathe dirty?
Yeah. And I go, I never really noticed that. I go, I always noticed that he had a lot of saliva when he would sing.
God, I can't stand guys like that. They have corners in their mouth.
Yeah, I go, his mouth was kind of glossy all the time. Ew. And Greg's like, oh, yes. Anyway, suddenly out of nowhere, Greg goes, Alexa, play Karen Carpenter. It's gotten serious now.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
And I said, I go, Daryl hates Karen Carpenter. And
he does. I forgot.
They both turned to him. They're like, they both turned to him. They're like, how could you hate Karen Carpenter?
I know, right?
She's stunning.
Her voice is
She died too young. We love her. She could sing anything.
I know.
She tried to sing something that was disco, and her.
You remember?
They know everything about her.
Baby.
Oh my God!
I watched the KVIE 6 special on her the other day, and you too can become a member for $150.
Oh, I hate that break.
But I had to watch it because it was so good.
I've seen the Karen Carpenter story, which was done in like the 90s, I think, and I don't remember the actress who played her. I said, but I cried.
It's so sad.
She had no chance. Her parents and her brother were terrible. Her mom was the worst.
Her mom was the worst.
And they were like, she could never do enough.
She was so talented, and everybody was so riding the gravy train.
They drove her to that eating disorder.
That's so sad.
It's awful. But anyway, so he goes, I don't like Christmas carpenters. Okay. I don't mind Karen Carpenter. And they're like, all right, well, here we go. We are singing at the top of our lungs. We're like, don't you, baby,
and nobody can sing her. Like, you can't.
No one.
It's like trying to, like we've talked about this, trying to do Mariah Carey or
Whitney.
You just don't do it. And if you do it, you have to do the ridiculous version because you know you don't sound anything like it. So
no,
it's like,
you have to pretend.
I'm just going to own.
Exactly. And then at some point, Daryl, I swear to God, he's like, well, you know, Jamie can sing like Linda Ronstadt. And I said, I go, what are you doing?
You are a good singer, but don't put me on the spot, especially when I've been drinking.
And they turned to me and they're like, you can sing. We love Linda Ronstadt. I'm like, okay, so first of all, no. No, I can't. Stop it.
Kill you.
No. I go, I cannot sing like Linda Ronstadt. I love her too, but that's it. You know, no, I can't sing
like you can't start out by comparing you to somebody fantastic. You just have to sing. And let them hear like, oh, you can really sing. Whatever. But you can't say like, hey, she can sing like Mariah Carey.
No.
All right, let's hear it. Absolutely. Then you're like,
like I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah.
No. Pressure's on. No.
Cannot.
Anyway, this went on for hours. And then at one point,
so funny.
I don't know what we were listening to the Carpenters and I turned and Greg is incredibly doing like he's really into it dramatic. He's like I'm really into it. And I did that. I started laughing.
And he's like, hey.
And he goes, what's so funny? I'm like, nothing. I'm like, I was just unprepared to see you be so into it. I was not prepared. Plus I'm drunk. So everything's funny. you know?
Well, and you know what? Sometimes I know he's not a new friend to you. Like, you guys have been friends now.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you hang out with someone that you don't hang out with, like, every weekend.
And they do something.
that you haven't seen before.
Sure.
It's funny.
Oh,
because
God.
It doesn't mean you love him more for it, right?
I did. Plus, it's something I would have done.
But it makes you laugh.
I think that's what made me laugh is when I saw his face, I go, this is how me and my sisters are.
Right.
Like, this is legit how weird we get. Right. It's so, like, there's no...
I know.
No shame.
I know.
And that's what I love about it.
Which is what I love about our family gatherings, when it's just, like, me and you and our kids.
Oh, my God. Crazy weird.
I mean, because we can literally do anything. I feel sorry for their... spouses, partners, boyfriend, girlfriends.
I think they like to watch. I think they
do,
enjoy
but at the
it.
same time, they're like, "This is a fucking shit show." Like, what the hell?
It can get that way, but it's fun. Yeah, and then Glenn finally goes, "Okay, how is your podcast going?"
Oh,
and I said, "It's going really well, actually." And Daryl goes, "You know what would be great?" And I go, "What?" He goes,
"Oh God,
they need to be on the podcast."
I wouldn't be able to stop laughing. We'd have to drink.
And well, that was
just to break the ice.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh yes." And I'm like,
my God.
I'm like, we have to do it now. We have to do it.
I would totally do it.
So we're gonna go out to dinner, and then we're gonna come back.
Do like a late night. Ooh,
I don't know.
Would be fun.
Well, no, they don't like to drive home at night.
I don't blame them.
They want it to. We're gonna start early.
Okay.
So it'll be an afternoon, and it'll be sometime in the summer.
Okay.
And where it's nice and warm, and and so
totally.
Daryl's like, we're doing it.
Oh God,
it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it will be amazing.
So that's on the schedule.
Okay, I'm down.
I'm just like, what are we going to do?
I mean, I don't know. I know Greg enough to know that I like him, and I don't like anyone, right?
Oh, right. No, it's going to be great.
And he's funny, and but I haven't got to know him like you have.
I will say, I'm a bit protective, and I don't want people to... I want to keep them to myself.
Right.
So, but I'm like, no.
That's pretty cute that they like to be around you guys.
I need to unleash them to the world.
As popular as they are, like everybody loves them and loves being around them, and they want to be around you guys.
And they're so different.
That is so cute.
For example, and I'm sure you'll be a part of this one day.
Well, he swears you and I are twins.
Glenn loves, and I mean loves Dottie West.
Oh God, really?
Stephanie, I don't know anyone else who loves Dottie West.
More than him.
No, than us. We used to love her.
Yeah.
With Kenny Rogers and stuff. He's like, 100%. Like, he's all in. I'm like, what? Anyway, you'll love it. It'll be super fun.
That was super funny. I don't know if it's because I know Greg, and so I could have envisioned all of this in my mind. Like, it
for sure.
Real, and how funny is that?
It's always so great. And their dog is adorable, by the way. It's so cute.
I'm so happy for them.
Such a cutie little. So yes, that will be something we'll do in the summer for sure. But everything I've been telling you about is this. We have not talked about lip and clip in a minute because...
True.
Okay, so what is lip and clip?
Lip and clip is like the bare minimum beauty thing that you do to yourself before if you have to go somewhere and you either can't or you don't want to get the full glam going.
No, you don't want to put everything
But
together.
it's impossible as an UGG to step out foot of the door and go into society where there are other human beings without doing something. You literally cannot. Yeah, we've seen those women. And I'm sorry if you are one, but I just personally can't do it. Walk out with just brushing my hair and brushing my teeth, and that's it. Like, no.
I mean, I guess that could...
Sweatpants.
It could...
No.
And
a non-real shoe,
Here's the deal, too, is that I am very much pro-women. Let yourself, do whatever you got to do in life. I don't think it's the patriarchy that encourages me to be presentable when I walk out the door.
No, me either.
I just think it's about just... respect for yourself.
To me, it's self-respect.
Right? Yeah,
100%.
So when we were being raised, our mom was like,
"It's all about inner beauty."
No, it isn't. When we were being raised, we're like, "Look, you're representing the family. When you go out and you look like shit, that's what people think about your family."
Agreed.
And so it's like, if you're going to go out and you have to go get milk and you don't feel good or you just don't want to put yourself together, at least get a lipstick and put your hair in a clip, because guarantee
you will see someone you'll
run into someone that hates you, or someone that was your ex,
or you haven't seen in a really long time, or
someone someone who's going to report back to others that like, I saw Stephanie, she looked like hell.
Right.
You never want that report. And so our mom essentially invented lip and clip. So it's like, you better lip and clip before you go out, because you're going to run into
And clip is like throw your hair in a ponytail, throw your hair in a barrette, something to get it out of your face so it doesn't look like you haven't showered or brushed it in 3 days.
When I was in my 20s, that's what I did. I would put it in a pony or a banana clip back in the day.
I know, huh?
And I'd put on some kind of lip.
I don't know why those went out. They were fantastic.
They're back.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're back.
They give you kind of a fan look in the back. It pulls it off your face. And I don't know what's wrong with that.
I don't know. It was kind of like a mohawk. Remember if you got the really cheap ones?
Well, yeah, but
claws are kind of it.
I like the metal ones. Those are mine.
Oh my God, I remember those metal ones. I had a metal. I know, like
because
a
they were
white
tight
one.
and
yes.
But we didn't just do any old banana clip like other people. We literally curled our hair.
I know.
And made it all ringlets,
real full,
and then put it in a banana clip, and it would look really pretty.
That's so 80s and early 90s. Anyway, so when I was in my 20s, I could do that, and I looked fine. Because I was young and pretty.
Right. I knew you were going to this. Nowadays.
Now my lip and clip is far more.
Yeah.
And now I understand why Mom started incorporating a hat into her lip and clips, because that's what I do. I'm like, oh yeah, baseball hat is the way to go.
Right.
I still do something with my hair, but if I haven't washed it and it needs to be washed, it's a hat day.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's so many cute hats.
And so now my lip and clip is a baseball hat, earrings, leggings, obviously, some kind of cute shirt, and then my face
fluffy shirt.
My face is mascara and some kind of lip.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, my skin is, you have nicer skin than me, so I really cannot leave without a very light
concealer.
No, not even concealer. I'll do like a powder foundation. It's not really foundation. It's just powder, but it's got tint to it.
Yes.
So it takes out all my little red, ugly,
Yeah. So I don't think lip and clip is a bad thing. I think everybody needs to be just a little presentable. There was a time period when women were walking around in pajama bottoms.
Still is.
Slippers.
Have you been to an elementary school lately?
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Moms show up. Oh no.
Every day.
You can't.
Not only do they drop off, but they pick up. And I'm like, really? It's been 8 hours. I get it at 7 a.m., but it's 3 now.
Or something. But I don't think, I think I owned pajama bottoms that I would, but I don't think.
No. You know what's funny? I was telling a friend.
First of all, I would never.
A friend who was raised poor like me, who's no longer poor, and he had tons of siblings, 8. And his mother was probably exhausted constantly. I'm sure of it. We were talking about how the fact that it took us a long time before we consciously realized it was okay to own more than 1 or 2 pairs of shoes.
Oh, I know.
We're like, we had running like tennis shoes, and then we had our nice shoes.
Your dress shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, and now, because it's funny, I made a comment to him. I'm like, Jaime, that's like your 6th pair of Nikes that I've seen you this month. He goes, I know. And like, he was so happy to have them.
He's like, because I can afford it.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, why did I limit myself to 2 pairs of shoes forever? Like, because I had money.
Because that's what you're ingrained.
So now I'm like, I'm going to buy like 10 pairs of shoes.
Yes.
And some of them I might not wear for a year.
Okay. I just bought a pair of Steve Maddens on clearance.
Ooh.
I will probably never wear them.
Then why did you buy them?
Because I love them. And I put them on and Daryl goes, where are you wearing those at? I'm like, I don't know.
Are they like combat boots?
No, they're patent leather, ultra platform, like 5-inch heels.
Ooh. You'll find a reason to wear them.
They look like S&M shoes.
You should wear them to the next work party that Daryl has to go to.
Oh my God. He'll be like, oh, is that your wife? Okay. We're running out of time, but I do have some ugly and awkward moments because I don't have any awkward moments.
I didn't really have any.
Shockingly. You'd think I would, but I didn't.
Same.
For all the socializing I'm doing.
Well, I've just been doing all this work.
These are church edition. Ugly and awkward because it's Easter Sunday.
That's
so I
true.
thought we're going to bring it back.
Appropriate.
Easter Sunday church. I was a kid, super bored. So my mom gave me a balloon to play with to keep me quiet. Mistake number 1.
Oh, yeah.
I, of course, blew it up and was trying to tie the knot. I was fumbling around. I asked my mom to help and she kept shushing me. Mistake number 2. I tried to tie it myself and I didn't do it. And it immediately rocketed into the air some 20 feet, making the farting noise the whole time that balloons make.
Yeah.
And it landed on a bald man's head.
Perfect.
And the pastor was laughing so hard it took many minutes to get back into the sermon.
Would have been equally as funny if it had landed in somebody's coiffed bouffant.
It made that little slap sound when it hit the head, and then everybody saw. I mean, I'm like,
was it wet from being blown up?
But you know how you
never know. It could have been. It was a little kid blowing up a balloon. And it landed on a bald man's head.
Some spitty balloon on a man's head. That's disgusting. This one made me laugh too. It was baptism day at the church. There was a lady in our church who decided today was the day and that she was going to get baptized. She didn't want to get her clothes wet though. So she took them off and wore only her bra and panties, beneath the baptismal robe. The white, thin, wet baptismal robe.
That was brilliant.
And somebody commented, they're like, well, was she attractive? He's like, nah.
No.
Of course, never. No, of course not. It's never going to be the ones
I know
that you want to see in a wet robe.
My husband has a tendency to tell me about disgusting things he sees in public, like women who are, and this is not, I don't know. I have very large breasts, as do you. So I actually feel sorry for women who have bigger boobs than me.
Oh my God, me too.
Or they're like, like absolute world record breaking.
Complete
You're like,
sympathy.
Good God,
Your poor back.
Yeah. So, but Jerry still is like the child within him can't help it when he sees somebody with triple Fs, and he's like, I could not believe the size of her breasts. I mean, they were huge. He's like, and he's going on, and I'm like, she had to have been disgusting because otherwise I would have never heard that story.
Oh, I see.
Because if they're attractive and young, I don't hear about it.
That's just filed away.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. so when he tells me, I crack up laughing when I hear
I always put torture Daryl. Like
I know
the other day, I don't even know what we were watching. It was something. And I said, I know what it was. We were listening to Yacht Rock and there's a song.
Yacht Rock?
Yes. We love Yacht Rock. We drink and listen to Yacht Rock constantly.
I don't know what that is.
Ambrosia.
That's how much I feel.
Yes.
Feel for you, baby.
Yes. So there's a song.
That is music I listen to all the time.
So we
baby come back.
Right.
Sorry.
And so we were listening to it yesterday and there's a song and it's like, sometimes when we make love, I still see your face.
You look at him like,
well, just take
hold of my hand.
Right. And I will be forgiven. Right. Yeah. So I'm listening to that song.
So my jam.
And, and I said, can I tell you that if you told some woman that when I'm fucking my wife, I think about you sometimes, I would divorce you.
Oh, seriously.
And he goes, I've never even listened to the lyrics.
Oh,
I didn't even know that that's what that was.
I hate that song.
And I said, I hate that song.
The debauchery.
And he's like, I didn't know. And I'm like, no, I'm not blaming you. I'm just telling you. And then later, like an hour later, I go, do you think of other women when we're fucking?
Oh, Jamie.
And he's like, I don't have to. No. Actually, we were in bed when I asked him that.
He doesn't. And that's true.
And he goes, no, I don't have to. And I go, I know. I was just wondering. I go, not that you would ever tell me anyway. He's like, no.
Yeah, he's
and I said,
dummy.
No. And I was like, but why would I ask? Why would I ask? Can you imagine? He goes, actually, yes, I do all the time, frankly. It's like something I have to do. I'd be like, what? Can you imagine?
No.
No one is, no
man that wants to stay married would ever answer that
He's
question.
Like, I don't want this to end.
And I don't think that's true.
It's not true.
Honestly. I mean,
I said, look, I'm in no position to judge whatever you listen. Whatever you think about when you're alone is what you think about. It has nothing to do with me. I said, but if you're thinking about other women, I will find out. He's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, all right. He goes, no. Do you think of other men? And that's when he tries to turn on me, I laugh.
It's so dumb.
Because it's so silly. And I'm like, okay, fool, let's go. He's like, do you think of other men? I'm like, what? No. I go, no, I do not think of other men, actually. And in my mind, I'm like, I could go with, I think of women, but then he'll just think it's hot.
No.
And so he goes, like Denzel. I'm like, Denzel
Washington?
I go, Denzel's like 80 years old. I'm like, no. And then he said some other dumb person, and I can't remember. I'm like,
and by the way, celebrities don't count.
I go, first of all, you're really bad at this.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to try to make me uncomfortable.
In the Ambrosia song, he's talking about an ex-girlfriend.
Right. And I'm like,
with his new wife who he's settled for.
He's literally saying, I'm very happy. We've been going strong for years, but every once in a while I think about us and I wish that it had been you. And I'm like, you know what? Get away from me.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Gross. Yeah. In fact, the last time that I had a sex dream about a celebrity, do you know who it was?
Who?
It's the bad guy in Urban Cowboy.
Oh my God. Scott, what's his name? Yes. He's wearing a mesh shirt.
I dreamt that I was in Urban Cowboy and he took me to his trailer.
That's funny because whenever I've had, and it's rare.
I literally orgasmed in my dream.
Oh, that's the best. It's weird, but it's the best.
And not only that, it was like,
it's real, by the way.
You can't replicate it.
No, there's something very euphoric about it because
it is so different.
It's weird. It's very, very weird. And you and I we've talked about our dreams so many times, but we haven't talked about that. And I won't deny that I do have these vivid, scary dreams, but I also have these super euphoric, like great dreams.
Sure.
And I love that I can control my dreams when it's something like that.
It was crazy. I just remember I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, so of all the celebrities in all the world, this is the one. And this guy's probably dead for all I know.
I think he is dead.
Like this was 100 years ago.
But I'm like, why? Hot.
Why am I thinking of this?
Who knows? It triggered some memory.
Please. Anyway, so yeah, he's not good at making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I don't feel guilty about having fantasy sex with celebrities. It's not real.
No, but you know what? They're
not people I know or that
it's rare too when I do.
Yeah.
And it's usually not on purpose when that happens.
On purpose.
Yeah, I never like, okay, here we go. Let me think.
No, I don't do that.
I don't do that either.
With the sex dreams that I have that are real like that, those are never planned. Those just happen, and when I wake up I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
Weird.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
The scary ones, I don't predict those, but they're so common that they're not surprising to me at all anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah. I hate it.
Anyway.
Actually. Most people love sleep. I'm like, I love sleeping and resting, but my dreams,
do you know there's medicine that can help you from having those? Really? I know someone who takes it, yeah.
I almost feel like for some reason my brain must need to do it.
Oh, maybe
I don't know.
Just processing.
But when I wake up, it's like when I wake up to silence. When I'm sleeping, it's loud.
Oh, it's so weird.
Isn't it weird? I'm like, everybody else finds peace and sleep, and me, it's like loud and chaotic, and there's always something happening.
That's how my dreams
And when
are.
I wake up, it's like, okay, it's quiet now.
That's so weird. You need drugs.
or therapy.
Or therapy. All right. Well, that's the show. Happy Easter, everyone. If you observe, you don't have to.
The only fun thing about Easter is I still love giving my son. No.
Oh, basket?
My son is so traditional. Like, he's so funny because he's 11 now. But if I don't get him an Easter bunny and a little basket with gifts in it, he's genuinely like, where's my Easter gift?
That happened last year. I do that too. I get them chocolate bunnies, and they just left them at my house.
Right. But if you didn't do it, then they're like, where's my chocolate bunny?
So last year I didn't buy one. And everybody's like, yo, where's our... I'm like, what, the chocolate rabbit? You're just going to leave it and it's going to get stale in my home?
Right.
No, I'm not. I didn't buy any. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore.
I'm not doing it anymore. Well, I mean, the one joy I will say about having only one child.
You can spoil them a little bit.
I do. I buy like the Ghirardelli bunny.
Oh,
or
yummy.
like the fancy,
Sure.
the solid chocolate ones and stuff like that.
Well, I do love the candy. I love the lambs. And so that's
me
what
too.
That's what I'm into.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, happy Easter, everyone.